Hi everybody. With the Spring Classics in the bag, there is no time to waste because our first Grand Tour of the season is already upon us. The 107th Giro d'Italia is starting May the 4th and good for 21 stages covering 3,400 kilometers and roughly 45,000 meters of elevation gain. You can check out my initial Giro route reaction in the video I'll link in the end screen to this video. As you will see from today's video though, the route builders have made some changes. At the time of recording this Giro preview, the starting list is known and we have a slightly better view on the contenders form coming into the race. This year we get a Grande Partenza in Turin, a short 140k stage featuring a flat start, two mellow climbs in the middle section and the second category Colle Maddalena in the finale, as well as an additional kicker with 3k to go. The flat start will not favor the break formation, and with the pink jersey on offer, plenty of teams will cooperate to keep the break in check. I expect the pure sprinters to get into trouble on the Colle Maddalena, and even should they survive, they don't stand a chance on the Bivio di San Vito, which has been added to the parcours. In my book, a punchy rider will get separation on the Bivio di San Vito to take the first pink jersey, and you'll have to check out my Stage 1 preview to find out whom I'm calling for this stage. Stage 2 is a challenging 160k stage featuring 2,250 meters of elevation gain and the first summit finish, which rises at 6.2% to the line in the last 11.8 kilometers. The stage is short and should be fairly easy to control, and lots of teams with the climber in their ranks will be ready to ride for the pink jersey, which will be up for grabs. It is a stage that suits Pogačar, yet I can't but think that he already has the Giro Tour double on his mind, meaning he'll have to try and win this Giro with minimal effort. Hence, there's no point taking the jersey this early on. But of course, if the other GC contenders move, he'll respond and he'll win the stage in a sprint of a small group. So calling Pogačar for this one. Stage 3 is predominantly flat, yet features a tricky 1.8 kilometer 4% average run up to the finish, which according to the route builders could stand in the way of a fast finisher's showdown. Personally, I don't think the run-in will present much of a challenge for any of the modern day sprinters though, and I expect Merlier to take his first win of the Giro. Also stage 4 should be fairly easy to control for the sprinters teams, and even though there's a chance for a strong break to form on the sloping start to the stage, I'm going to call it once more for the sprinters. Yet don't be fooled. Once again, they'll have to survive over 2,000 meters of climbing, including the Capo Mele, deep in the finale, which also features in Milano-San Remo. Pre-race, I'm calling this one for Koi. On stage 5, a break will form, and maybe, very maybe, if one of the sprinters has been dominant on stages 1, 3 and 4, some teams may decide not to take part in the chase, leaving a tiny chance for the break to stay away here. Then again, there's plenty of time to control, so in my book it's going to be the third consecutive stage for fast wheels. The climb of Monte Magno might take a few riders out of contention, but as I said before, modern sprinters should survive this. To keep things exciting, I'm calling this one for Milan. Stage 6 then is a slightly different beast with more classics features. The White Road stage, featuring the Vidrita and Bagnaia sections of the Strade Bianche, and the new section around 15k from the finish, followed by a descent and a 7k sloping drag to the finish. I expect some riders to go bonkers on the Grotti section and to stay away for the win. I'm liking Stuyve and Narvaez for this one, yet I'm going to call Stuyve. On stage 7 we're presented with a 40k individual time trial, which is mainly flat yet climbs towards the finish line. Overall there's 404 meters of elevation gain to tackle. This will be a first proper test for the GC man. The climb to the line is irregular and features some steeper sections. Ghana time. Stage 8 is a 150k demanding Apennine stage and the first one to present the riders with nearly 4,000 meters of elevation gain. The final 14k to Prati di Tivo climb at 7% average. The first of 4 5-star stages in the 2024 Giro, which I expect to go to the break. The first 40k provide the break riders with an ideal terrain to build a nice buffer. Pre-race, I'm calling this one for Jan Hirt with a win from the break. Prior to the first rest day, we go over 200k race distance for the first time this Giro on stage 9. The start is mainly downhill, followed by a flat middle section and some bumps in the final. Here, the word is back to the sprinters with Koi taking his second win. Week 2 starts with a short 141k Apennine stage good for 3000 meters of elevation gain, and with a first category mountaintop finish. The start to the stage is flat, which will make it difficult for the right break to form. The most likely scenario for me is for a group of strong riders to break away on the middle section of the stage. There's lots of climbing in the final 40k though, so if the GC guys start riding behind, it will be difficult for the break. Nevertheless, I'm going to call this one for Aina Rubio from the break. Stage 11 runs over 207k, with the last 80k straight and flat, a proper sprint stage, calling this one for Jacobsen. Stage 12 is a 193k hilly sawtooth stage, called Stage of the Low Walls by the organizers. The first 50k are pancake flat, yet then we get a succession of 10 more or less demanding ups and downs. These type of stages always go to the break and expect the classic specialists to take this one. Narvaez will have marked this stage, yet pre-race I'm going to call it for Fiti. There's not so much to say about stage 13, it doesn't get any flatter than this one for the pure sprinters where Merlier will take his second win of this Giro. On stage 14 we get another individual time trial, this time around 31 kilometers with 242 meters of elevation gain, and hence one for the pure specialists. An average of 55 km per hour is expected, given the very fast road configuration in the second half and the overall slightly downhill altimetry. Ghana time part 2. Week 2 then is ending with the Queen stage of this Giro, a 222k mountain stage featuring an unprecedented finish. What was already a brutal stage during the route announcement is now even more brutal because the organizers decided to include the Mortirolo in this stage. It's the longest stage of this edition and the second of 4 5-star stages, basically climbing for the final 55k, good for a total cumulative elevation gain of 5,711 meters, while going well above 2,000 meters. Pre-race I'm calling this to be the stage where Pogačar destroys everybody, securing his Giro win with a victory in the Queen stage. Week 3 then kicks off with stage 16, another 200k plus mountain stage with a hard start allowing for the break to form. The riders will cross the Stelvio, this year's Shimakopi, the highest point of the race. This stage has break written all over it and I'm calling it for Filippo Zanna. Also stage 17 starts climbing for 9k out of the gate and is a proper mountain sawtooth stage with a first category mountaintop finish. Short and very intense with over 4,000 meters of elevation gain. It's the third of 4 5-star stages. I'm expecting the GC standings to be quite decisive by now, and unless there's obvious weakness in the race leader, the break has a good chance to make it stick in this one. And pre-race I'm going to call it for Hugh Carty. Stage 18 is another proper sprint stage. We may have lost some of the fast men by this time, yet Milan will still be in the mix and looking to secure his sprinter's jersey. Stage 19 then should be for the break and I'm calling Aina Rubio for this one. Stage 20 is the final chance to overthrow the standings and the terrain is more than suitable to do so, with the riders tackling the 18k 8% Monte Grappa twice, including the option to put contenders under pressure on the descents. For reference, Nibali has won a stage here in 2010 after doing the climb only once, yet also including the descent. Stage 21 will get a traditional sprint finale for which I'm going to call Merlier once more. Overall, we're presented with a Giro that features the toughest stages in terms of climbing towards the end, as you can clearly see from this chart presenting the cumulative elevation gain per stage. So to summarize, and for those of you entering some or another fantasy cycling league, we have 2 individual time trials, and without knowing the actual race situation, I'm expecting 8 sprint stages, 1 punchy stage, 2 classic style break stages, 4 to 5 mountain stages to be won from the break, and 3 to 4 GC days. This balance between mountain stages going to the break or GC will largely depend on how Pogačar will race this Giro. Here's an overview of the winners of the final 10 editions, with 3 wins going to Ineos with 3 different riders, Froome, Gegenhardt and Bernal, and 2 wins going to Movistar with Quintana and Carapaz. Just as on last year's edition, we only have 1 former winner lining up for this year's Giro, namely Nairo Quintana, who won the race 10 years ago. Besides him, we also have the runners-up of 2016, Esteban Chaves, 2021, Damiano Caruso and Geraint Thomas in last year's edition. Some other notable riders who've done well here in the past are Pozzovivo, Maika, Amador and Daniel Felipe Martinez. In terms of betting odds, Pogačar is the overwhelming favourite to win this year's Giro. When you look at odds, you'd expect him to already have this one in the pocket, yet we all know that ain't the case. A lot can happen over 21 days of racing. G is second favourite, followed by Tiberi. With the individual time trial kilometers at hand in this Giro, the winner must be good against the clock, which brings me to the following list of riders to watch. Soudal Quickstep looks to be lining up with a team that will aim for the fast stages with Merlier, breakaway rides for Hirt, stage hunting with Alaphilippe, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Van Zevenand trying to hang on for GC. During the Ardennes Classics, he was amongst the better when the road pointed upwards. At UAE, it's all about Pogačar, the overwhelming favourite to win this year's Giro, and for obvious reasons. His year so far has been very impressive. Third in Sanremo and winning the Strade and Liège-Bastogne-Liège, as well as the Volta a Catalunya, winning 4 out of the 7 stages to take the win with 3 minutes and 40 seconds over Landa and over 5 minutes on Bernal. He's lining up here with a very strong support squad, and given that all the other teams will be watching UAE, they'll have to work. Also look out for Molano in the sprints. At Ineos, we get last year's runner-up Geraint Thomas and Tijmen Aresman. Both can count on a strong individual time trial. Thomas had a gentle start to the season with a 13th place on GC in the Tour of the Alps, all in line with the approach he had to last year's Giro, so don't count him out. Aresman rode to 6th in last year's Giro and had a strong start to the season, 5th in the Algarve and 6th in Tirreno Adriatico. I would not be surprised to see him do really well here. Uiterbroeks will be the GC lead for Visma Lease bike, 5th in the Gran Camino and 7th in Tirreno Adriatico. I'm a big fan of this youngster who rode into 8th on last year's Vuelta, the first Grand Tour he entered. The team is also lining up with fast guy Coy, and don't be surprised to see Laporte snatch a stage along the way as well. Bahrain Victorious looks to be riding for youngster Tiberi on GC, 8th in Catalunya and on the podium in the Tour of the Alps. Besides, I expect him to hunt for mountain stages with Pouls and Caruso. Also watch out for Bauhaus in the sprint stages. At EF, I'm considering Chavez and Carty as outsiders for the top 10 in this starting field. Yet honesty obliges to mention we haven't seen them that often inside Grand Tour top 10s in the final few years. I really hope to see them go for mountain stage glory instead. Then we get my man Dani Martinez at Bora Hansgrohe. Those who've been following this channel for some time will know that I have a soft spot for the man. I just love to see him climbing, and he has a decent time trial too, as well as a good start to the season, ending second to Evenepoel in the Algarve. The team isn't putting all their money on him though, given that they'll also be positioning for sprint victories with the Welsford-Van Poppel duo. Then I would love to see Quintana surprise, yet Movistar's best shot at glory in this Giro lies with Gaviria in the fast stages and Rubio or Guerrero from the break in the mountains. Groupama decided to put all their money on youngster Fitti, who will be riding his first Grand Tour. No climbers on this squad, so they'll be all in for Fitti on the Italian flat stages. At DSM, Bardet indicated to be feeling at his best and to be aiming for a podium. He was best of the rest at Liège-Bastogne-Liège. The ITTs may be his undoing though. DSM also opted to aim for sprint victories with Fabio Jacobsen. Dunbar and Plapp are the men to watch for GC on Jaiko Alula. Dunbar ended in 7th on last year's Giro. Plapp has the time trial advantage here, so let's see how the race develops for this pair. Besides, I'll be keeping a keen eye on Filippo Zana for mountain break stages and Ewan for the sprint stages. At Little Trek, the main goal will be for Milan to win stages and claim the sprinter's jersey. Besides him, I also wouldn't be surprised for Stuyve to try and snatch a stage. And finally, it will be interesting to see how JP Lopez fares on GC. He has a history with the pink jersey and is fresh of a Tour of the Alps win ahead of O'Connor and Tiberi. At AG2R, Ben O'Connor has proven in the past to be Grand Tour top 10 material. I think it's safe to say that this season's O'Connor is the best we've ever seen, second in the UAE Tour, 5th in Tirreno Adriatico and second in the Tour of the Alps. And then we've kind of headed for GC. At Intermarché, it will be for Girmay and Mikkels to aim for fast stage wins. I'm not expecting too much from these Arkea and Cofidis lineups. I expect Israel Premier Tech to be stage hunting with Woods and Clark in the mountain stages and Ethan Vernon in the fast stuff. At Alpecin de Koning, look out for Groves in the sprints and Quinten Hermans for wins from the break. At Tudor, Trentin and Dainese will be trying to snatch sprint or breakaway victories, while I expect Storer to try and get a breakaway mountain win. His form seems decent, 6th in the UAE Tour and 7th in the Tour of the Alps, yet he's never done well on Grand Tour GCs. So I hope he aims for stages or the climber's jersey. Finally, I'm not expecting too much from Bardiani, Astana and Poltico Meta. Looking at the fast men, here are the 10 to watch in my book. Kooi at Visma Leasebike, Merlier at Soudal Quickstep, Jacobsen at DSM, Milan at Little Trek, who'll be defending the sprinter's jersey, Gaviria at Movistar, Girmay at Intermarché, Bahaus at Bahrain Victorious, Groves at Alpecin de Koning, Vitti at Groupama, and Welsford at Bora Hansgrohe. As mentioned during my team overviews, also watch out for Ewan at Jaiko Alula, who's not making it into my page here for the simple reason he's been nowhere near victory wherever he's been lining up lately. Here's an overview of how these sprinters have been doing recently. It is very clear from this overview that Kooi, Milan and Merlier are those whom are winning, and hence for the sprinter's jersey, you can expect the main fight to be between them. Personally, I would love to see Merlier going after it. In terms of stars, it's hard to argue with the bookies. Pogačar is the only 4-star favorite. Geraint Thomas and Martinez get 3 stars. Aresman, Uitebrooks, O'Connor and Bardet get 2 stars. Tiberi, Dunbar and Plapp each get 1 star. And in terms of podium prediction for the 2024 Giro d'Italia, I'm going with a Pogačar win ahead of my man Martinez and Geraint Thomas. Thanks for watching and look out for my stage predictions with stage 1 dropping soon. Enjoy the race.